Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you to this insightful gathering. I'm Sufyan Sheikh, and it's my pleasure to be your host for today's event. Welcome to the forefront of marketing, innovation. Today, we embark on a journey into the vibrant world of marketing, of QSRs, cafes, casual dining, and the cloud kitchen brands. Get ready for an immersive experience as we tackle the unique challenges and opportunities shaping the future of restaurants. Welcome to FFCC Presents Marketing Deep Dive, presented by Kubrix and powered by GrowDash. And yes, this event would not be possible without the constant support of our partners. So Revly, Foodix, Local Knowledge, and Momos, a very big thank you. All right, everyone, it's my pleasure to introduce a man with a great beard, Mr. George Mohan, who is also the co-founder of Oddbox, the organizer of this event, who will kickstart our deep dive experience, where we'll explore new horizons and chart a course for success together. George.
Thank you. So, as most of you already know who we are, we usually do the Fast Food and Cafe Convention every November. So Amini and me were sitting down, we were discussing what can we do to bring more to the industry, right? And we said, there are multiple events that focus on the entire segment, on HoReCa in general, but we realized that there's a gap, which essentially means targeting important departments within the QSR, cafe, casual dining, and cloud kitchen industry. And that's when, one of the biggest, say departments of marketing, we play such an important role in terms of the success of the operations of the entire business as such. We realized we launched the deep dive series, right? So the idea behind this is to really, deep dive into the concept of marketing, really run through, say strategies that we can implement in our day-to-day business that really helps build the community in general. And that's really what we've always been about. Our motto is to learn, network, and collaborate. And we want to try and cover as much as we can over the next, over the entire day to see, hopefully we have things that we can take back, to our day-to-day business and implement it and help us in building our business. I'd like to extend my thanks, especially to our partners, our media partners, of course, Kubrix, GrowDash, Revly, Momos, Local Knowledge, and Foodix, who's been, constant and, with their support to us year on year. Without them, of course, the event would not be possible. Of course, I'd like to extend a huge thanks to Wahid Root, as well as Comco, who played an important role in doing what we should do, which is marketing. Now, there isn't a marketing event if we don't do any marketing about it, and they've been pivotal in ensuring that we get the message across. Again, thank you very much, and goes without saying, the team, without the team, none of this would be possible. So a huge round of applause to the team for helping us out here. Reaching out to delegates, you may have heard from Ankita. I'm thinking most of you would have spoken to Ankita at some point. And of course the delegates for taking time to be a part of the event. And lastly, the speakers, right? The speakers, you guys have been so important in terms of being willing to share your knowledge and your expertise and network with the rest of the audience as well. So thank you very much. I hope you have a super productive day. And let's get the event kick-started. We're going to be around. If you have any issues, you can reach out to us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, George. Folks, it's time for our first session, our first round, which promises to unravel the mysteries behind the effective storytelling. Today's dynamic landscape, we have gathered a stellar panel of industry experts who will shed light on strategies, mediums, and impact of storytelling. So without a further ado, let's welcome our moderator for the day, Thuraya Talib, founder and managing director of Restaurateurs, and our panelists, Ankita Rajendran, head of marketing, Ramal Hospitality, Ketki Shah, head of marketing, City Max Hotels and Food Mart, Mr. Pablo, the ECD and founder of DAF, Sandra Hozaj, marketing director, Duncan UAE, Simon Ritchie, comms director, Yoke Brands. Over to you guys.
I think we can.
Test. Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Just making sure you can hear me properly. Is everyone good? Okay. Good morning, awesome
Morning.
people. Super lovely meeting you in person, finally. We're gonna deep dive directly into the questions. So our first question is, we hear a lot about the term storytelling in marketing. In your own words, and for your brands, in parentheses, brands, whether you have multiple brands or not, what is the true meaning of storytelling, and how can we simplify it? Why is storytelling important for F&B brands? Can you start with us, please?
I don't know if this is on. I don't think it's on.
No.
I think I represent Wagamama, Trader Vic's, Oki, which is our newest Fountain Views venue in Dubai Mall. We're very excited about this one. So I would say that for a brand that's relatively new to the market, storytelling becomes so much more than just selling. It's more about what is the emotion that you're trying to evoke within people, and why is it that in a market like Dubai, they need to choose you over someone else. I think that's the main essence of storytelling. But whatever medium you use, I think people don't want to be sold to anymore. So we need to think beyond just, I think, selling, and look at how is it that we can create a difference with what message we're trying to say. For example, for Oki, it's an immersive experience. It's all about gaming and darts. So people love to go out and have fun, right? And that's the emotion that we want to capture, whether it's on social media, whether it's our teams, just engaging with the guests. I think that's the story, because when you think about, just as a customer, when I go out and I'm telling my friends about this is where I went, I'm not telling them about the food, but I'm telling about the service, the smiles that I was welcomed with when I go in there, the experience. I think that's what storytelling is all about.
Amazing. What about you?
I'm guessing.
Okay,
Can you
perfect.
test
Guys
it?
can
Can you?
hear. So storytelling is equivalent to marketing. That's what I believe, right? Every marketer is a storyteller, right? What's the difference in F&B and in, I would rather say, retail? I'll start with an example, okay? The latest IKEA ad, right? I'm not sure if anyone has seen it. That's caught my attention, and I'm just latched on to that. For me, that's storytelling. Which ad of that? Exactly. I'll just tell you which ad of that.
They have so many beautiful ads.
They've connected with their audience. It's about the pets, just that conversation we had right now. It's a simple ad. It's a print ad. There's a dog who's torn the pillow apart, and there is a small tagline saying, "You can afford it, 15 dirhams." What did that do to me? It connected me to the brand. Not that IKEA is an unknown brand. I, of course, go to IKEA. I buy IKEA already. It's just made an impact. So the point is, you make an impact, you put your product out there, you put your brand out there. But how do I do that in F&B? The brands that we manage, we have Carluccio's, which is the Italian brand. We have Zafran, which is the Indian brand. Everyone sells biryanis and everyone sells pizzas. How do I stand out there? You talk about the nostalgia. You connect with people. You tell a story there. For me, that's storytelling in F&B.
Amazing. Thank you. What about you, Pablo?
Hi. Yes. I think that you defined the storytelling very well. I don't know what can I add here, but
Maybe for your own brands, case studies. Case studies of your own brands, maybe?
No, I think that the only thing that I want to say is that for me, storytelling is the reason why people is opening the doors of their houses or their lives to brands. is where the relationship starts. So I think that is the way that we can put brands at the same level of people and having a very personal relationship with them, because I think that is the way that, yeah, it's about emotions, it's about the tone of voice, it's about the, so yes, I'm a disaster with dates, and I never remember anything about birthday, even mine or my kids or everything. 2 days ago was my ex-wife's birthday. I forgot it for sure. She was expecting the whole day for me to forget So, but then, what saved me when she was angry with me? My personality, because she knows me from the past. We had a lot of situations together. We have a history together. We share a lot of beautiful moments together. So it was the only thing that saved me in that situation. She was super upset in the beginning, but then we started, we started with the.
You told her a nice story,
maybe. I started to tell a story about, oh, remember when this happened? It saved me. So for me, storytelling for brands is like an insurance. When everything can fail, the relationship you have with your customers is the only thing that will be.
I like this insurance policy.
You can applaud now.
I like
you
it.
Can
That's a new
now.
term for marketing. What about you, Sandra? It's not working? I'll give you mine.
You want to talk here?
So storytelling is something that is very dear personally to my heart, given that Duncan's mission and Duncan's purpose is to spread happiness through their products. So our brand goes beyond just selling coffee and donuts. It's a brand that pours positivity into people's lives through our coffee. It gives you the energy through the coffee to go on with your day, to be the best version of yourself. It makes any moment happier, any moment brighter, and any celebration bigger, especially when it comes to our donuts. So people gather around our boxes of donuts to celebrate a certain occasion and enjoy their moment. As well, we are a brand that cultivates connections, and we bring people together around a cup of coffee, a box of donuts, or even a tasty breakfast. So it's extremely important for us as a brand to convey this brand mission and brand values to our customers, and to tell our story to our customers. And this is a very powerful way for us to connect with them in a way that is more memorable, and in a way that goes beyond just selling our products to them. So yeah, that's it. Absolutely.
What about you, Simon?
Does mine work?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think everyone's made amazing points about storytelling, and I think there's so many different types and so many different opportunities for storytelling in marketing. One thing I think when people think of storytelling, they think of a long story. They think of something big, something massive. But I think as the example Kiki just gave us there with IKEA, that's just what a still image with one line of text, and it tells you so much. It really tells you about
And
the
as a dog
brand.
lover, she loved it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It tells you
emotion.
so much about the brand. It tells you so much about you as a person, and whether that you can afford this, and it gives you that reason, impetus to buy. And they've done that in 5 words or something. That's fantastic. That kind of storytelling is amazing, and I think that's what marketers need to think about more. Yeah, you get amazing brand storytelling where you can tell the history of the brand. Like for me, the brands we have Pickle, which is a burger brand, and a lot of the stuff we do is very humor-led in the first. We try to engage with people that way. But we also have a coffee brand, Southport, where the messaging, the brand storyline is really about the quality and the fact going to the source of the farmers. And it's not funny, it's about connecting with people on that emotional level. And so I think you get such different types of storytelling in marketing that it's super important for you as a person to know what your brand is and how you get those storytelling across, but also just to realize all those different opportunities for storytelling. Even if it is just a single static Facebook image or Instagram image, that's an opportunity to tell a whole world of storytelling. And I think that's vital. And if I had one bit of advice for a new brand, or for anyone really marketing, it's don't be boring. Like honestly, the amount of pitches I get or suggestions I get for brands, and I'm like, okay, but why would I care? Like, okay, even if you've created a story and you've got a start, you've got a middle and an end, you've got a purpose, people are being advertised to more than any time in human history in the world. You walk down the street, you get a million adverts bombarded with you. You go on Instagram, every 3 posts there's another post that's an advert. The influencers are all advertising to you 24/7. You have to be interesting. You have to stand out. You cannot be boring. So yeah, it might have a storyline. It might make sense in your eyes, but is it engaging? Is it compelling? That's what's super important, and I think that's what most people need to focus on.
Amazing. I think you kind of answered the second question.
Oh,
as well,
sorry.
a little bit of the second question, which is great. Then I'll give more time to the other panelists, which is basically how should we as F&B marketeers utilize storytelling for our brands? What are the right strategies, tools, and how do we get our teams engaged? Because you also mentioned about our teams, to believe in those stories that we want to tell. And how does market adaptation and cultural sensitivity play a role? We discussed this earlier, and I think I will start first with you, Ketki.
Okay.
Ketki.
Sure.
I think she has
I
her
think mine
mic.
This one is working? Okay.
Yes. Okay. What mediums do you use? Every marketer uses every medium. The way you tell a story, it's different on each platform. Like Simon said, you do one post, but that post can say a lot, right? My favorite brand when it comes to storytelling, I don't know, I'm just so biased to this brand, Nando's, because I've spent so much time with the brand. It's simple, it's just grilled chicken, but it's not just grilled chicken. It tells you the USPs. Why should you buy that grilled chicken? That's storytelling. In one post, I can say 3 things there. It's fresh, it's flame grilled, and it's marinated for 24 hours. That's storytelling.
And it's delicious.
And
You're
it's
making me hungry
delicious.
already.
I still talk about it because I still handle Nando's in Saudi, right? So that's a brand for me. I think I've learned a lot from that brand, and that's where storytelling comes. It would never say, go buy this chicken. Yes, of course, there is a call to action in your social media post, of course, because without that, you don't see conversions and ROI, of course, that's there. But that's storytelling. That's your social media. I believe you don't do anything sporadic. You just don't put that one post out, one image out, or one ad out and say, I've done my bit.
Thank you.
And that's definitely not going to get you anything in return. In fact, that's wasting your marketing bucks there. It is a consistent process. That's where you create that connection with your customers. You tell them a story there. I believe also certain influencers, not all, certain influencers have great storytelling skills. How do you use them for your brand? It's very important.
The key word here, I think, is not all. Not
I
everyone who
agree.
has a good followership is actually good for your brand.
Even if they do have the followers, the reach, the engagement, the way they put their brand out is seriously different. I've worked with an influencer very recently, and she came up with her own ideas. And I said, so you want to tell a story? That's it. So that's how you use. So that's a medium for me, influencers. Social, of course, but you don't just put that one post out like I said. It's an ongoing process. You do print, you do in any medium, even if it's a radio. I've done a campaign with radio where obviously you have a certain spot that you get, but how do you use that? You just add 2 or 3 lines so that you know what happened last night. I went to this brand and then this happened. Yes, it is staged. It just tells you a
But
story.
you have 30
there.
minutes. It's like your 30-second, 30-second pitch.
Exactly. So that's where you connect with your customers. You give them what they want to hear. They want to eat. They want to drink. So,
Sandra, I want to ask you that question, but I want you also to highlight about the market adaptation and cultural sensitivity. Can you highlight on that one for Dunkin'? Because it's an international brand, and of course, coming from one country to another, it plays a role.
So yeah, definitely, you cannot. It's not a formula that fits all across the entire world. For example, the strategy in USA when it comes to Dunkin' is totally different than our strategy here. So you definitely need to take into consideration the culture, the nationalities that are there in the country where you're advertising your brand mission. So it definitely needs to be customized to to a certain country, rather than just going for a blank, similar approach across everywhere. Yeah.
Taib, do you want to tell us about your strategies as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of tools do you utilize for storytelling for Duncan?
Yeah, so actually, I just want to talk about usually the process of really going through. It's extremely important for a brand to go through the right process in telling their story. First, as a brand, as an F&B brand, you need to really identify your brand purpose. And then according to your brand purpose, you'll need to create your story. And this story needs to differentiate you also from other competitors. So how are you actually positively impacting people's lives through your products, beyond just selling your product? So that's a first step. That is the main important step, is to identify a powerful story that you want to tell. Second thing is to identify your audience. Because for us, for example, it's very important to identify the audience that we want to target and use the right channels for this audience. And not only that, create the right content for the audience that we target. For example, if our target audience are the new generation of consumers, such as, let's say, the Gen Z, the type of content we would create to tell our stories will be totally different than targeting millennials. So that's number two. And then you have the consistency, which is key. You really need to be consistent. This is what we try to do. We need to be consistent in our messaging across all channels. Of course, the formats will change from a channel to another, but the consistency of telling your story and sticking to your story is very important for you to create trust among the consumers and to make your story memorable as well. And another thing that is very important that we really focus on at Dunkin' is employees' engagement. Every single person in the company needs to believe in your story. Because if we're communicating, let's say from a marketing side, if we're communicating that Dunkin' spreads happiness through the products, if you communicate it through social media, video content, influencers, and so on, and let's say the customer walks to our store and the barista doesn't believe in our brand's purpose, then we have completely failed. If you see a frowning barista who's just doing his job and just serving coffee, not serving happiness, you know, it means we didn't succeed as a brand. Hence, really, like, this is something that we really focus on as a brand. And also, most importantly, is monitoring the whatever we do. So whatever we do is monitored constantly. Everything related to content, to communication message, we monitor the performance of that, we monitor the impact of that. There are various ways to monitor this. I think there's another question for this. So yeah, so this is it from Duncan's side.
Thank you. Can I get the mic back? Because I need to ask you, Ankita, on engagement of the team, because this is something that you mentioned earlier, and now we're continuing on the conversation with Sandra. Like, how do you engage the team in your brands to tell the story as well, to continue your efforts as a marketeer to tell the story? I'm just going to give a quick example. Trader Vic's is one of your brands, but I never went to Trader Vic's in UAE yet, unfortunately, but I was definitely, I was always a customer of Trader Vic's in Jordan, and like the moment we go in for a Latin night or something, I feel that the bartenders are actually dancing with me. Like just them giving us the drinks, they make me want to jump onto the dance floor and start dancing. So this is one good example of a brand that you actually handle. So please tell us more about the engagement.
Sure. I'm glad you brought up Trader Vic's. That was going to be my example, actually. So we manage Trader Vic's Madinat, and it's the most iconic Trader Vic's in Dubai. It's been there for 20 years. And here's an example of one of the videos that we did. Our team had this brilliant idea of showcasing, yes, Trader Vic's is known for Tiki Puka Puka, it's known for the Mai Tais, it's iconic, right? It goes hand in hand. But we're also an image because our band is so popular. So we literally did a video of our band speaking about what they love about Trader Vic's and what they do and their own backgrounds and everything. That made such a connection with people. It was one of the most organic viral reels for us on our page. We were thrilled with the response we got on that, just because people were able to, the comments we got was, yeah, I know this team, I love them. That's what we wanted to hear. And we knew that we'd succeeded in conveying the message that was more than just eating and drinking. It was about the nostalgia, like Pablo rightly mentioned. It was that I've been here for 15 years. This is my go-to place. I think one of the things that wasn't mentioned in terms of making that connection and what tools we'll use was, one, the biggest and the best of all, which I believe, active listening to the customers, whether it's reviews, whether it's your personal messages. You need to listen to the guests. You need to engage with them actively on social and other channels. And the second one, word of mouth. That is the best marketing tool that I can think of. When I tell my friends that I've been here, they're going to go, right? Your customers are your biggest marketing tool. So you don't need to sell it to them. What you need to sell is an experience. If they have a great time, they're going to do your job for you. I think that's what we're selling here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this insightful one. Pablo, your insight, but you have like 30 seconds. I'm joking. I mean, do it concisely. What do you think are the right strategies to tell stories in your brands, and how does market adaptation affect also with this, with the cultural sensitivity, if you're talking about different brands, different cultures, different countries? Your mic is working, right?
Yeah?
Your mic is working.
Yeah, I think so. Good question. I think that first of all, storytelling for me needs to be true. I mean, it's something that you really need to.
Not like what you told your wife earlier. Not like what you told your wife earlier.
Exactly. Because you will have to live with it for a long time, and you have to really feel that it fits on you and your team or whatever. So, as she mentioned before, it's impossible to deliver happiness if you are not happy in your life.
Yes.
So it's important to
Has to
find
be
that
authentic.
thing. Then, for sure, you have to check with the audience and all these metrics and tools and everything. But for me, the best metric that you can get is if someone is sharing your campaigns in any
The
WhatsApp
word of mouth.
group
Yeah.
from the mothers of the school or whatever.
Yes.
That's for me is the best metric. If you are going to the hairdresser and the guy is talking about your campaign, you can be counted.
Perfect. It's again word of mouth. What about you, Simon?
Yeah, just briefly, I think going on word of mouth and what Ankita said, I think a lot of marketers as well think that word of mouth is maybe not something that they can impact as much, because that's just a guest talking to another guest. But obviously, it's about the experience you give the guest, and I think it's about creating campaigns that are shareable. Something, that slogan or that memorable moment that they will talk about with their friend, that they will bring up at a party, or whether they're at the hairdresser or at the bar or whatever. And I think it's just really important that marketers think, when they've created a campaign, what is shareable about this, what will people talk about this, and what will give it that next step.
So again, we go back to word of mouth being the
Absolutely.
best tool.
I'll just add something here. When we talk about word of mouth and your stuff, just an experience, very latest one, on a social platform, we created a piece of content where we featured our chef. I mean, just a very simple one, this or that, chicken biryani or lamb biryani. Very simple content. What made me smile was customers walking in and saying, I want that biryani because that's your head chef's favorite, right?
Aw, cute.
So for me, that is also how you
Creates a
connect
relationship.
with your customers. And my operations team definitely had a pushback saying, no, you're going to put one product down there. No, we're not. I just put my whole menu out there through my chef, right? So these are very small things which go unnoticed. Like, people don't really believe in that, but we should. And it's a request to the non-marketeers to believe in what marketeers do.
Yes.
They do it for a purpose.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. You're kind of also, every time you're kind of moving on to the next question indirectly, but this one I'm going to start with Pablo and give you a little bit more time, because I'm joking about giving you 30 seconds. What are the metrics? How do you measure the success of storytelling in F&B marketing, especially that sometimes it cannot be tangible, sometimes you cannot see it directly after working on a specific campaign? Maybe IKEA's example could be, you might not buy a pillow today, but you might go buy it next year or something. but it will still create this lasting impact on you, but it's not necessarily directly measurable. And what are the metrics you believe you can follow as for storytelling campaigns, storytelling and marketing and F&B and stuff?
I would say that I'm creative, so I'm not a marketer. So that's why I.
It's even harder. It's even harder to measure.
To measure. No, but you can't even be creative on how you measure and stuff. So, but no, my point is what I just mentioned about. I think that be part of the culture. As for example, one example, when I did the Moldy Whopper campaign for Burger King, it just exploded in the world. So it was, a big success for the brand. So this is the kind of things that you can't measure. Then yes, you can get results after. You can get how many views, whatever, but it wasn't that important. The important thing on that kind of campaigns is where are you putting the bar of things and how you are showing your braveness or all these things. I think that to be able to reach that kind of big, successful campaigns, you have to accept that you will need to move in uncertain kind of territories, because if not, it's impossible. People are expecting to see new things, to feel new kind of feelings and all these things. So it's not just about telling about the marketing kind of things. You have to really jump into the culture. You have to really jump into the pop culture. So that's how I measure things.
I'm going to ask the same question to you, Simon, regarding Pickle, for example. Like, how did you measure storytelling and how did you figure out whether that brand is going the right direction or not? Because it's relatively a young brand in comparison to other F&B of similar business models.
Yeah. For me, I think Pablo touched on one of them, and this obviously can't be measured, but for me the metric is if people come up to me and talk about a campaign that I've done, then I know that's hit people, that's meant something to them, that has connected and resonated with them. And the more of that you hear about, some campaigns you do, and my friends won't mention it to me. They've seen it, I'm sure, and they've thought, oh, that was fine, that was okay, that was good. The ones where people make an effort to come up to you, you hear people talking about it, you see people sharing it, those ones are the ones when you know it's really connected and it's really resonated with people. And I think that's super important. For Pickle, that's for us. We're very humor driven as well. We tried that. So people message me saying that was hilarious, that was fantastic. I know that's worked. I know that's landed. It might have only landed with my friends, but that's all I care about. So that's fine. But I think that personal touch. I think we don't get a lot of that in marketing these days. It's all digital. It's all how many click-throughs did you get? How many minutes watched did this video get, which is all nice and it's fantastic, but that actually hearing the proper feedback from people that they enjoyed it, because somebody could watch 3 minutes of a video and not enjoy it, they've just watched it and it's not resonated with them. But if someone comes up to me and says that, then that means a lot. And I say the other key metric, and I know some marketers who don't view this necessarily as a metric a lot of the time because they view a lot of what they do as just brand building, but ultimately revenue is why we are here. Our job is to bring guests into our restaurants. So if we see that actual impact on the bottom line, that's important. That's why we're here. That's why I get paid to do what I do. So I think that's something marketers need to think about more as well, and not tie everything they do to revenue, but to make sure that's a really important part of the business. Yeah.
What about you, Ankita?
I think just like Simon said, I think obviously bottom line is very important. But what we tend to forget is when we're just doing these reports, our team, and I touched on this earlier, I think all of us sit in our offices and we think of what I need to do to get to that bottom line. But at the end of the day, it's our team that's bringing our stories to life, right? Whether we do a menu launch or whatever it is, they're the ones actually guiding the customers and bringing these stories to life and our brand to life, really. I think that's intangible, but every time I see a review about this server engaged with me, they were so kind to my kid and they gave me this and this, that is storytelling as well, I think. It's intangible, it's not something that we can measure, but I think that's very, very important in the big picture of what you're trying to do with your brand. That's just not selling chicken and curry. It's so much more than that, and I think our teams are very involved in that, and it's not just marketeers, it's also non-marketeers like our teams in the stores who are bringing these stories to life in a very real way every day.
Amazing. So basically, up until now, we're talking about team engagement, personal relationships with owners or managers and stuff, and word of mouth. What about you, Ketki? What's your insight on this? I'm coming back to you, Sandra. I think I have a very long question for you, that's why.
So the question being, how do you measure, right? Digital is the most easiest to measure and to put it out there. But when we say it's easy to measure, you're questioned on, oh, it just has 40 likes. You have only 120 followers. That's not how you measure it, right? Again, you put your ads out there. You tell what do you want your customers to see and do when you see that ad on digital.
Or how they feel. Or
How they feel, exactly. Not everyone. I'm a marketer, I'm a digital marketer. I don't follow brands, but it doesn't mean that I don't go and see what they're doing. Of course I do see what they're doing. I know what every brand is telling me, what's their new product launch, but doesn't mean that I follow the brand. So followers is not everything. Your likes are not everything. Your engagement is, yes, it definitely makes an impact, but it's not everything. Don't use only one medium. Don't just do digital. Don't just do traditional. You do a 360, not every time. We manage multiple brands. Not every brand has a similar marketing budget. But you use your budget in a way that you know, okay, for a brand like Zafran, I do know it's not the millennial audience that I'm talking to. I may do a more focused print campaign, or I may do a more targeted, maybe we would manage Saudi. The audience there is completely different.
And the tools they use there, the social media platforms that they use there are totally different.
If I'm not on Snapchat and I don't do Snapchat in Saudi, then I'm not doing nothing there.
Exactly.
So that's how you manage your tools. You measure your tools accordingly. An Instagram post will definitely not do as good as it is doing in Dubai. Right? So you play around there.
Yes,
right?
perfect.
There's nothing like radio in Saudi that works, for sure, but outdoor may work.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So how do you measure? You can't measure outdoor. Ever, ever, ever.
You can't measure advertising
Never.
and creativity and branding. I mean, it's a long-term thing. It's a long-term thing.
But also, you just don't do, like I said, you do a 360. You do a constant effort is what is needed.
Consistency that Sandra
Right.
talked about earlier.
Just putting that one ad out, one post out is never going to get you any conversion. And like I said, going back to you're wasting your money.
Exactly. Sandra, your turn now. Tell us, how does Duncan measure storytelling?
All right, so definitely this is a long-term investment and it rarely translates into immediate sales. However, for Duncan, there are many ways where we measure the success of our campaigns that are based on brand equity, storytelling. In today's era, thankfully, storytelling is a two-way communication. So you get a lot of insights from your consumers whenever you tell a story. And this helps you a lot in assessing the success of your approach and how much people resonated with the piece of content that you launched. So you can measure the likes, the engagement rate, you can measure the comments, you can check the sentiment of the comments, whether the comments are positive, negative, and even there's something that we always look at is the viewership rate. So whenever, let's say, we launch a campaign, so there was a campaign that we recently launched with the Cosmopolitan Middle East that was like a year and a half ago. And we managed to get a viewership rate on YouTube of 68%. That's compared to 32% as an average in the industry, which means that people were really interested to continue watching the ad. You know, instead of stopping, they continue to watch the ad, and this proved that our series of videos that we created resonated with our audience. The same campaign also managed to help us increase the TikTok page in just a couple of weeks by 12,000 followers. Wow. Also, so followers as well would, if you launch a certain campaign that is based on brand equity, storytelling, and you see that people are following your page, it means they are really resonating with your content. For example, as well, for this same campaign, we saw an engagement rate on TikTok that is higher by 8 times higher than our regular content on TikTok. Wow. So yeah, this is usually how we measure the success of our brand equity campaigns. Definitely not through direct sales, but I mean, these are metrics that really helps you assess and then optimize accordingly for future campaigns and for you to know if you need to tweak your approach or do it again in a different way. For example, now based on the learnings from this collaboration with Cosmopolitan Middle East, we are repeating, now we're launching in the coming 2 days, another set of episodes, given the success of our previous set of campaigns. Yeah.
And now we are at the final question. We won't bore you any longer. I hope we're not boring, to be honest. I don't think we are, but I'm not sure about them. So what is one word related to storytelling and marketing you can tell to any junior marketeer or someone not related to marketing in the F&B sector? One word and tell me about it. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Sure. I would say empathy, because in a saturated market like Dubai, we all see tons of ads every day. We're just scrolling nonstop. For something to register, you need to be thinking about if I was a customer, what is it that I want to see? What is going to convince me to go to this brand? We need to start anticipating the customer's needs, but without selling to them directly. We need to tell them this is what we do, but it's so much more than that as well. It's a story about our teams. It's a story about what we stand for as a brand, who we are as a brand, which is more than just selling drinks. And there's also real people behind the scenes, whether it's showcasing our chefs, our bands, our team, and their morale and their big smiles. I think all that is very important, and that's sometimes what a customer needs. We've done so many campaigns where we've done immersive experiences, like for Wagamama, we did a yoga class. That has nothing to do with Wagamamas, but it's still an experience that we had guests signing up for, because at the end of the day, we're a brand that's very healthy. It's very good for you inside and out. And that was a message that connected with our guests. And I think we really landed that story and that campaign, because it was like the whole month of January, Veganary. So I think going beyond just, just having a brand that sells, yeah, we do this, we do chicken katsu curry, great, but then tell me more, right? What's happening behind the scenes? I think sometimes customers do need that, and I think as a junior marketer, you need to start thinking about, if I was a guest, why would I go here? And I think empathy is very important. You need to anticipate the customer's needs.
Your mic is
Okay, sorry. The word for me is connection.
Nice.
Right? It ties into a lot of things, cultural sensitivity, selling. I need to create that connect with my customer to sell the customer something. You create that need, that want. Ramadan is the best example I take. Every brand, every F&B brand has to be out there when it's Ramadan, right? Because we all know people don't, most of them fast in the day, so how do my sales are down, etc. That's when you play on the whole need and the want, right? There's a very beautiful video which was created with one of our brands, and where we said, we didn't touch upon the not eating in the day, but when you are breaking your fast, it's all about being together. Yes. It's about the family values, it's about sharing, it's about being together. So you touch upon that. So that's the connection that you're creating with your customers there, and you're telling a story as well. But that may not work for Carluccio's, the brand that we manage, because that audience does not really fast. Mm-hmm. So what do I do there? So that's where we talk about, I know there is a set of audience that is kids, that we do kids cooking classes. So during Ramadan, when you're fasting, take your kids out there for the cooking classes. You again create
Get them occupied.
Exactly. That's where you create that connection. So you pick your strength, the brand strength, and you tie it up with what's happening at that minute. Mm-hmm. Right? So for me, that's connection.
Amazing. Thank you. What about you, Pablo? What's your one word that says storytelling?
I will say human.
Nice.
Because I will suggest for young marketers to put all the marketing rules on the side for a moment and start being more human. Breathe, love, hate, be angry, shout, fight, dance, enjoy, do everything a human will be for your brand, and it will be a big success. And then you can start incorporating all the marketing rules, and it will be the next big bang in the
Amazing.
world.
I like the description. What about you, Sandra? What's your one word for storytelling?
With the mic.
You look like rappers, you know.
So my word is similar to yours. Connection, definitely. So whether you're a junior marketeer or someone who's not in the marketing in the F&B industry, but not in marketing, it's very important for you to understand the importance of storytelling, how much it will impact your connection between the brand and the consumers. Storytelling will definitely create this bridge. Sometimes you feel there is a gap, and also it will it will be a discussion human to human, rather human to a brand, which refers to your point as well. So whether through telling a story about a certain dish origin, whether telling about the passion, talking about the passion of your baristas and their stories, and how they manage to create this perfect cup of coffee for you, or even the joy and connection that your product facilitates to consumers, every single piece of storytelling that revolves around storytelling will create a connection, a very strong connection with your consumer that goes beyond just selling your product.
Amazing, thank you. What about you, Simon?
Well, I think I'm loud enough without a microphone. I was worried going last here that someone would steal my word, but they haven't, which is good.
Thankfully.
But that also means it's probably a really crap word. Hopefully it's good. My word would be brevity. And
Brevity.
Brevity, yeah. A lot of people I think there's a misconception as well that means short, and it doesn't. It means concise. And I think that's super important. What I think, and I would say this probably repeatedly today, is that people are so busy in this day and age. People are bombarded with so many adverts in this day and age. When you need to get your message across, it needs to be concise. It needs to be impactful immediately. It can be long. It can be 1 hour long and still have brevity because you've done it in the right way and you've not waffled on it in that hour. If that full hour might be full of impactful moments and make sense and have a great sense of storytelling throughout it. But make sure it's just 1 hour. Make sure it's not 2 hours or 3 hours. It's about making things concise. An example that I'll take is from the famous author, the horror writer, Stephen King. He has an autobiography called On Writing, which I recommend to any writer or any marketer. And he gives an example of what he does with his books. When he writes the first draft of his book, he will take a page or a chapter of it, and he will cut 20% of that out. He will just go through it word by word and go, do I need that word? Do I need that word? Is this important? How can I make that shorter? And every single chapter and every single book, he'll make 20% shorter than he started with. That's an exercise that I run with my teams as well. Do you need all this? People are so busy, they don't have time. They want to get done and move on to the next thing. How concise we can be, as well as helping them, it also helps you. It makes your message so much more impactful the more concise it is. So yeah, brevity and being concise is something that I think is the most important.
Amazing. It follows the example of the IKEA campaign with the pets and the ruined pillows and cushions and broken vases and all of this.
And they did that
it was
in
just
4
like
words.
4 words. Yeah, 4 words. 4 words, the price, picture, beautiful, and khalas, this is it.
And the fact that it said you can afford it didn't hurt me. Say, okay, I know it's 8 dirhams, but I'm sure I can afford more than that. But it did not affect me as in a negative sense.
Yes.
It created a positive impact.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much. Now it's time for a Q&A. Does anyone have any questions for our panelists? Please raise your hands. We don't bite. If you have questions, you can ask. Damien.
Damien's always got a question.
Damien always has something to say or add.
It's okay, I don't need a microphone.
What's the best?
Oh, there we go. Got one in the end. Given what's been discussed today, what's the best advert you've ever seen that you didn't make?
I gave you my answer, Damon.
Yes.
The IKEA one? You already have her answer. What about you?
Can't think of anything right now, sorry.
Sandra?
So there's this advert that always sticks in my mind. It's the Dove Beauty.
Dove.
That was launched like 8 years ago. I'm not sure if you guys remember it, but it's about how women perceive themselves. And you get to into a room, you describe yourself to someone who's drawing you, and then you realize that you're much more beautiful than what you have in mind. And as you know, Dove's brand mission is to, it's very much linked to empowering women. This is what they base their communication on. They have an entire platform about that. So this is an ad that really is sticking in my mind.
Amazing.
Okay, I've got the mic.
He's got his mic working.
I don't know if it's the best one ever, but it's the one that came to mind immediately. So perhaps it is because it's done its job. But for me, it's Nike. And Nike have just incredible advertising they have done for decades. And the one that came to my mind straight away there was just text. It was a big billboard, and it just says, "Yesterday you said tomorrow. Just do it." Again, a few words, but it's something that rings true for probably everyone in this room. Every one of us has sat there one day and said, "Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym. Tomorrow I'm going to start the diet." Don't
January
start
1,
diets,
we're
eat
starting the
burgers.
gym.
Exactly.
Everyone, the gym is packed. January 1. January 2, no one is there.
Everyone says it, and I think they got that. Yesterday you said tomorrow. Just do it. You know, I think they got that message. I think it just resonates with everybody, which I think is extremely hard to do. To do it again in 4 words or whatever it is just amazing. So I thought that was fantastic.
Amazing. Pablo, what about you? You're creative. You should know some of those stuff.
I can't fail now. No, I have a lot of campaigns in my mind, but one that I really think that for its simplicity and how they execute it, it's the one that Burger King did, asking McDonald's for the Day of Peace, the Global Day of Peace, let's create the Mac Whopper together. And I think that when McDonald's said no, it makes the campaign go far away, just for the response McDonald's did. So I think that one was amazing because it was just a letter from Burger King sent to McDonald's.
Very interesting. It's the constant war, just like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and their wars and stuff. What about you, Ankita?
Oh my gosh. I honestly can't think of one right now. I'm so sorry. But I think the ads that work really well are the ones that happen on the spot. You know, you see an opportunity and you capitalize on it. I think a few years ago, I read something about a Super Bowl where it was completely dark. And then there was one, I can't remember what brand it was. I just saw a tweet about it some time back. But that brand flashed and that said, you know, make the most of when it gets dark or something. But it was instant. They just did it on the go. I think those ads just go viral and they capture the attention of the people and they're like, this brand did this with just presence of mind. I think sometimes that's what you need. You just need to be thinking on your feet sometimes. I think those ads always stick with me. I can't think of one right now, but I read a tweet and I remember it years later, like now. So
I have an answer for that as well, following the campaign of IKEA. It's the one that they did before the dogs. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's they're showing their products and then they're showing the parents with the children. And then they're putting on the product the tagline, the second best thing, like a mother with the baby, like the baby is sleeping on the mother's lap. And there's the baby crib on the side. And just saying that the first best thing is the mother's lap for the baby to sleep, but the second best thing is the IKEA product. That one is beautiful as well. I'm getting goosebumps just now, like talking about it. So yeah, I think there's a lot more ideas, but definitely we're short on time, of course. We're going to have some more time for questions. Anyone else has any more questions? Yes, please. Can we get a mic?
My question is for Senora Ketaki, okay? I have to admit I'm one of regular customers for CityMax, okay? I truly admire the way you are promoting your services, from the locations, the way you preserve things that you are presenting for clients. And you have mentioned that in Ramadan, you make some kind of cooking classes for kids, okay? So how you book your client blindly or unconsciously make your client find his way to you? What is the strategy? What other strategy you have implemented out of the box, like cooking classes for the kids in Ramadan? I want to know more about the things that you have implemented in this area.
So the example that I mentioned about the cooking classes in Ramadan is the brand that we manage, which is Carluccio's, which is the Italian brand. It's a very community, loved by communities. The brand has this brand personality. So it's it's not difficult for us to do that, right? So, but like you mentioned, if it's a City Max where most of my outlets are beverage-led outlets, I can't really talk about that during Ramadan, and I otherwise just cannot talk
That's
about
the
it.
cultural sensitivity
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Right. So, and considering alcohol, you just cannot talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's where I would just show a glass and say, you don't have to think now. Right? So maybe it's like, okay, it's Ramadan, it's not right for me to go drinking. But once Ramadan's over, or maybe when you're not fasting, you don't have to think now. So that's how you play on the emotional part of people. Again, if you have to speak about the Carluccio's brand as such, the brand has a licensed venue in Qatar. We can't speak about alcohol, right? You just go out there and say cheers to the new menu.
Okay, Ramadan, how you just make people just gather again, like, and buy their wear on like to City Max? Because like I was like living next to City Max, and I had seen like how people just see the banner, please night out, and all of this stuff. And I have admired the way you are singing and mending your ideas. So what about the rest of the year?
So for City Max is a completely different game when we talk about the hotels, right? Getting customers in to stay in City Max we are 90% dependent on tourists, right? Someone who's local definitely would not go and check into a hotel because we're not a luxury hotel. We are a 3 to 4 star property. So unless there's no electricity, like the last few days that happened, something like that is when a resident would check into a hotel if it's right next to you. But talking about the F&B in City Max, I'm proud to say that one of our brands, which is Huddle, people may not know that it's related to City Max, but they know Huddle as a brand itself. So is it difficult for me to get people there? Yes, it is. It is still difficult. So being on top of mind, constantly speaking to your customers is the only key, right? If that answers your question, how do you get people there? Thank you.
All right, who else? Oh, we have a question over there, Sufyan.
Hello, good morning. I am not marketing, but I admire what you guys do. So I will question for Ankita and Simon. I love pickle. I do see that you did venture into coffee, so I'm sure you can't use the same strategies, right? Same goes for Ankita. We have, Wagamama, Trader Vic's, Oki, completely different, similar to kind of a Top Golf, but there's food and all of this. What do you do when you find yourself in that situation where maybe you're trying things and it's not a copy and paste for every single brand because you are venturing into different things? Do you tap into your loyal guests? Maybe that's not their cup of tea. How do you face that challenge?
Can I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
I think it's a great point, a really interesting question. For us, I said we started just as Pickle. We now have 4 brands. All of them require different strategies. If we talk about the coffee one for a bit. But for me, Pickle is, we're UAE-wide, we're in different countries now as well, so we're kind of growing that international and global presence. So we try and talk to everyone at once. We try and really, our campaigns are huge, 360, they're massive, we spend a lot of money on that. With our new coffee brand, for example, it's much more community-driven. Your local coffee shop is where people go in the morning before work, or perhaps on their lunch break, or when they just get back from the office, or on the weekends with their family. It's that real community-driven aspect. So for us, it's a lot more about actually going out and speaking personally to the audience and making it their routine and making it their day-to-day. With Pickle, we're not going to try and suggest to someone go to Pickle every single day because they'll probably die of heart disease in about 5 years. I mean, trust me, I'm on my way. Whereas with a local coffee shop, that is absolutely somewhere that can become routine, it can become part of the community, so it's a completely different strategy. And I think you need to utilize different ways to communicate with that person. For us, for example, it can be, with a coffee shop, it can be like community Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups. There's all these kind of different smaller channels where you can reach out to less amount of people at a time, but touch them more personally and resonate with them more clearly.
And I think...
I think. So, a good question. I think, again, each brand we have a different strategy. Wagamama is all about family first. It's very community driven. We actually have kids cooking classes as well. We've had them for the longest time on weekends. So those are packed full throughout the year. It's a very busy time for us. For Trader Vic's, we have a salsa night. Everyone loves to go dancing, and it's one of the most busiest nights for us on Sundays. So it's something that we do consistently well, I think, and that's how we distinguish ourselves. And for Oki, which is our gaming darts venue, I think there are a few other competitors in the market, but when we're bringing a global brand to a place like Dubai Mall, it's about how do we engage those guests and tell them, you know what, it's not just a bar, but it's also a place where you can eat, play, and drink. I think that's the message that we're consistently trying to drive, and it's going to take time. I think that's the main thing, that you need patience as a marketeer. You can't just throw money at a problem. I don't think that's gonna help. Yeah, we're not magicians. It's going to take a lot of time to build a brand from scratch, but I think with consistent messaging and understanding the ethos of your brand, and in the long run, that's how you build customer relationships and a sustainable brand. It's not just throwing money at a problem. You have to be clear about what it is that you stand for and build from scratch, ground up.
Thank you so much. I think our time is up, and I would like to thank again the panelists. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, our audience, lovely audience, for all your questions, for your patience throughout the panel. And if you would like to address any questions directly to any of the panelists after this, feel free to talk to them directly if you're all okay with that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.